KC 101, time for another edition of Saturday with Seniors here on KC 101. And Shirley Alexander, our guest this morning here. Shirley is 87 years old, born in 1935, and I can't wait to hear her story. And Shirley, welcome into KC 101.
Thank you.
Thanks for stopping by. So where did it all start? Where were you born back in 1935?
I was born on Cop Hollow, about 2.5 miles from Harrison Lookout, back in the wilderness.
Were you born in your parents' house?
Yes.
So the doctor come there to deliver you? Or was that the plan? Or no?
That was the plan. They called for the doctor to come, and you had to go 3/4 of a mile to a telephone. There was no telephones. No line went through.
So your mom's going into labor. There's no telephone for 3/4 of a mile.
They went, well, you walked to the neighbors then.
Okay.
And called the doctor, Dr. Basney. Some of the people will know who that doctor was here in town. And he got lost on his way out there, and he never showed up.
Oh,
so
wow.
Luckily, there was a neighbor about, it's about a mile up there, that was a nurse, and they went and got her. So I was born 2 hours before anybody took care of.
Wow. And did you have running water in the house at that time?
Oh, no.
Okay, so no running water, no hot water, no boiling water, none of that. I mean, you could boil. I mean, you had a stove, right?
Yeah.
Wow, quite a story. So the doctor arrived, and you were already there.
The doctor never.
He never made it. Okay.
No.
He's still looking for the house.
Yeah, no, he was always our family doctor.
So did he make house calls routinely, or did you go to the office, or was he more common to come
No, we
to you?
went to the office. Yeah.
So what do you remember about your earliest years in the house and growing up and things? Things that are
there
different
was
than
always
today?
a routine. We had our chores. As soon as we were old enough, we helped with the dishes and did a lot of the work. You know, bring the wood in or the coal, whichever. We used both for heat, and carry the water. So there were, and of course we didn't have a bathroom, so the slop jars had to be taken out too every day. So.
Was the slop jars the indoor plumbing buckets?
That's right.
Okay.
The pots.
Yes, the honey pots. Okay.
Okay. Had to be taken out. So we had turns to do that, and that was the worst job that we had.
I guess so.
But we had a fun life.
Mm-hmm. You make what you can of it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm learning from people is you didn't have to have all these luxuries.
No. And we maybe got to town once a month. And, of course, we had the country store there at Thumptown. That has burned down years ago now.
I did not know that you had that. I'd heard that there was a store in Thumptown.
There was a store.
Right across from where the Yellow Basket shop is.
That's right. My first job was I dipped ice cream at the Yellow Basket shop.
Did you know Glenn Campbell? We had him on the first week of this, and he lived in Thumptown when he grew up part of his life, although he was about 8 years older than you.
The name sounds familiar.
He used
but
to
I
walk
don't know.
from there into town all the time to go to the movies or whatever. And did you walk often from there to town?
No.
No, okay.
We didn't go. We were poor.
Reason to walk.
You're born in a family born in the Depression. You didn't do any luxury. I was 12 years old before I saw a movie.
Wow.
And it was at the Arcadia.
So do you remember some of the thrifty things your parents did to try to stretch a dollar? I'm sure they canned stuff.
We darned the socks and sweaters and so on that when they got holes in, you didn't get rid of them. You darned them.
Darned them means patched or sewed? Is that it's a new term to me also?
Darning is with knit things. You know, to tell you the truth, I was so used to doing that I did that even after I was married. Because you just learn to save things.
Sure. You had a sewing machine in the house, I'm assuming, too. Everybody did.
My mother had a Singer sewing machine.
Was that a foot pedal sewing machine?
Oh, yes. There was no electric.
When did you first get electric?
1947.
Was that a very special day?
A very, very special. And the telephone line never came through there. I live on the same property now that I was born on.
Did you live there your whole life in the same property? Or did you come?
No.
Oh, okay.
We moved away. Of course, I married in 1955. My husband worked for the WAG Railroad in Galton. We had bought a home in Galton.
The Wellsboro and Galton Railroad line that went along Route 6.
WAG, Wellsville, Addison, and Galton.
Okay, I got it all wrong. Those were Addison, Galton. Okay, thank you for straightening me out.
Yeah. And the people in Galton didn't like it that they called it the wag with the tail, like a dog's tail. Anyway, so we had a fun time. We lived a fun life. 3 of my brothers, I had 5 brothers and 2 sisters.
Yep.
3 of the boys played guitars. So evenings at our house was a fun time. After the chores were done, we would sit in the living room and sing. They played, and we liked to polka, so we would polka around the house.
Dance around.
And
So it really sounds like you all, as a family, really had a strong family unit. Today's family units, it seems like everyone goes to their own room and does their own thing. How do you feel about the way people are raised now versus you? Do you think they're missing out on?
I feel that they are really missing out on, because we made our own things, like we made our sleds. If we could get an old barrel that had barrel staves, you could make scooters out of it. You probably never heard of them. It's a barrel stave with the wood and a brace on the front down. And you ride downhill on that in the winter.
Wow.
Wonderful. And I can see my brothers. My one brother was 6'4" and one was 6'3", and their legs were so long they were flying up in the air. And we had skis. I don't know where they came from, but we did have 2 pairs of skis.
Do you remember when the Wellsboro Country Club had a ski tow back in the late 40s and early 50s? There was actually skiing at the Wellsboro Country Club, but
There used to be skiing there, but we never did.
yeah, you did your own walk up the hill. Keep it in your budget.
We had a big hill we walked up and made bobsleds. Well, the neighbors, they had 5 girls and 2 boys. A neighbor was 3/4 of a mile away. But we had kids to interact with and play. And then, of course, at school, you played fox and geese at school.
Well, I want to hear about that and schooling and where you went and all that. And we're going to be right back on KC 101. It's Saturday with Seniors. I've got Shirley Alexander joining us, born in 1935. She's still living in the same property she was born on. So she's back there. She loves the area. We'll be back on KC 101.